Listen, something happened at the end of Alien Earth Episode 3 that honestly made me stop breathing for a second. I swear, when that last scene rolled out, I just sat there staring at the screen, whispering to myself, nah, they did not just do that. You know when a show hits you so hard you have to pause and replay just to make sure your brain didn't make it up? That's what this episode did. And today, we're diving into it all. Because what Boy Cavalier is planning, what's going on with Joe, Wendy, the hybrids, Morrow, even Nibs, it's so twisted, so layered, that if you blink, you'll miss the deeper meaning. And I promise you by the end of this video, you'll understand why this episode changes everything. So let's start from the chaos we already know. Wendy, or Marcy, running off in episode 2, determined to save her brother Joe. And they didn't just fight the Queen Xenomorph, they went to war with it. Now, let me pause here and say this: if you've ever done something reckless just because you couldn't stand to lose someone you love, you get Wendy. That moment wasn't just survival horror, it was a sibling's desperation. She was willing to die for Joe. She hacked into that queen with a literal paper cutter blade. I mean, who fights the deadliest creature in the galaxy like that? Only someone who's got nothing left to lose. That was guts. That was love. That was pain. And it worked. But love leaves scars, and the two of them didn't walk away unscathed. So when we open episode 3, Joe's not okay. His injuries? Brutal. And his lung, God, the lung becomes the centerpiece of this whole insane twist. Because Boy Cavalier and Kirsch? They don't just fix survivors. No. They experiment. And this time, they decide to take Joe's surgically removed lung and combine it with this fish-like alien pulled from a xenomorph egg. When I first saw that, I had this pit in my stomach, because you and I both know nothing good ever comes from playing mad scientist with alien biology. Now, let me slow it down for a second and explain why this matters. The Alien franchise has always been about merging human vulnerability with alien horror. Think about it: chestbursters, facehuggers, parasitic life cycles. Every time it's about violation and mutation. This scene, with the lung and the fish-like alien, isn't just gross horror, it's symbolic. It's Boy Cavalier literally forcing humanity and the xenomorph together. He's stitching them into one body, one host, one nightmare. And he's doing it with Joe, Wendy's brother. The one person she ran back into hell to protect. That's psychological warfare right there. Boy Cavalier isn't just messing with science, he's messing with hearts. And you can't tell me this isn't intentional. Remember what Curly pointed out? That Wendy is obsessed with Joe. She can't, won't, live without him. So what does Boy Cavalier do? He turns Joe into the experiment. He puts Wendy in the one position where saving him means she could lose him forever. And that's twisted genius. Because let's be real, this isn't just about discovery for him. This is about control. Personal leverage. A sick sort of art. Let me break it down for you. Boy Cavalier has 3 possible wins here. 1. Joe dies, and Wendy, broken-hearted, can fully become the prodigy innovation he always wanted her to be without distraction. 2. Joe survives, but only as another hybrid. Meaning Cavalier gets another creation under his thumb, a new puppet in his collection. 3. Wendy watches this whole nightmare unfold, and either bonds tighter to him in desperation, or snaps completely, which, trust me, would still feed his ego because chaos is control. In every outcome, Boy Cavalier wins. That's terrifying.
But then there's this other layer. And this is where I need you to feel it with me. Joe having his alien-infested lung reinserted into his body isn't just body horror, it's fate horror. Think about it: if that fish-like alien inside the lung matures, Then Joe has a xenomorph growing inside him. His death is not just possible, it's inevitable. We know what happens when humans become hosts. We've seen it. But what happens if you're a hybrid, like Wendy, and you're bonded to a host in some strange way? Could she feel it? Could she sense Joe's pain before it even happens? And here's where it gets wild. When Wendy heads toward the lab, she hears the screeching alien and collapses. That's not an ordinary faint. That scream pierced her consciousness. She felt it. Which means Wendy might be linked to the Xenomorphs in some bizarre, neurological way, ever since she bled that strange white liquid after the Queen fight. And that connection? That changes the rules. Because if Wendy is tethered to them, then Joe isn't just her brother anymore, he's her mirror, her test, her downfall. If he turns into something else, he drags her down with him. And that honestly shook me. You guys, when Wendy collapsed in the Prodigy lab, twitching on the floor beside the Prodigy logo, I couldn't stop thinking this is the Ripley parallel. She's the franchise's stand-in for humanity's resilience, but she's also carrying trauma too big for one person. She's walking on the knife's edge between survival and destruction. And the way she dropped? That was the show reminding us she's not invincible. She's not unbreakable. She's us. Tired. Bruised. Confused. But still pushing forward. And then we get to Nibs. And Nibs broke me. Because while the others are playing roles in this war, Nibs is off having a crisis, and it's a very human one. She's realizing she's not human anymore. Her synth body is permanent. She doesn't have a home, doesn't have a place to belong. She's basically alive in memory only. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, that's me, but it doesn't feel like me? That disconnect? That's Nibs every single second. Some people think her despair is just an error from the consciousness transfer, but nah. To me? To you? To anyone who's ever felt lost in their own skin? That's humanity. That's what makes her real. Nibs feels pain because she still carries something of herself inside. And because she feels, she matters. Then there's Morrow. Guys, Morrow goes full chess player this episode. He starts getting curious about Slightly and Smee, realizing they're not just machines, they're basically children in grown bodies. That innocence disarms him. He doesn't see them as threats, but as puzzles. And when he asks Slightly, when is a machine not a machine? That's not just a riddle, that's the infinity question. That's the core theme of Alien, Earth. When you put a human mind in a machine, or an alien parasite in a body, or a brother's love inside a nightmare, where does the line fall? Where's the cutoff between human, machine, alien, and legend? Morrow's words hit hard because they're not just for Slightly. They're for us. Every fan. Every person watching, wondering what makes us us. Slightly hasn't answered. But here's my theory, the answer is when it remembers love. Machines act on calculations, code, function. But if it remembers relationships, affection, responsibility, that's not machine anymore. That's person. That's self. And that's why Morrow is dangerous. He's pretending to befriend Slightly, but he's digging for the truth about Boy Cavalier's creations. And trust me, once he knows, he'll use that knowledge like a weapon. Every subplot in episode 3 comes back to one word: transformation. Joe's lung becoming a host. Wendy collapsing under alien vibrations. Nibs realizing her body isn't hers anymore. Slightly being forced to answer the unanswerable. Everything is metamorphosis. And that's why this episode was titled Metamorphosis. Because everybody is changing, whether they want to or not. And what do changes bring? Fear. Loss. Power. Evolution. This isn't sci-fi for the sake of spectacle, it's a mirror. It's asking us, how do you face your own metamorphosis? Do you accept it? Do you fight it? Or do you break under it? And guys, I love you all, but I need to say this raw, this show is about us. About the things we run from. About the wounds we carry, the family we protect, the parts of ourselves that feel alien. Because haven't we all felt like Nibs? Haven't we all been Wendy, clutching family even when it hurts? Haven't we all been Slightly, wondering what makes us real? That intimacy is why this episode matters. It's not just monsters in the shadows, it's the monsters inside. So let me break it down one last time. If Joe gets his lung back, he becomes a host. If Wendy is connected to him, she'll feel that. Maybe even share the corruption. Boy Cavalier either gets another weapon, or he shatters Wendy completely. Nibs is trapped in identity crisis. Morrow is quietly plotting and digging, setting up for bigger moves in future episodes. And Slightly, he's standing at the doorway of a revelation that'll reshape what it means to be alive in this show. Everyone is shifting. No one is safe. And here's the thing. This isn't just entertainment. It's a story about survival, identity, and obsession. About science used wrong. About how much pain people will endure for love, for control, for discovery. And I don't know about you, but I feel it in my bones. Because the more I think about episode 3, the more I realize this is just the beginning. The real metamorphosis hasn't even hit yet. So what do you think? Will Joe survive? Will Wendy break her eyes? Will Morrow use slightly to flip the game? I want to hear your theories down below, because this community, we're not just watching a show. We're decoding it, living it, breathing it together. And if you've ever felt like part of you doesn't fit, like you're caught between human and something else, this story is your story too. Before I sign off, do me a favor. Smash that like button if you felt this video deep in your chest. Subscribe if you want to keep unraveling every hidden thread in Alien Earth with me. And please drop your comments. Tell me your theories, your feelings, your fears. Because this channel isn't just me talking at a camera. This is us, building something together. A place where our obsessions and questions turn into connection. Episode 3 was called Metamorphosis. But you know what? This is our metamorphosis too. We're shifting, growing, undergoing the same transformation. You're not just viewers, you're my crew. My fellow survivors. My lost boys. And we're in this together. So hold on to that. Stay strong. Stay curious. And remember, change is coming. It's already here. And it's not stopping. Until next time, I'll see you in the dark.